Mark chapter 6, verses 1 to 6, my dear sisters and brothers, recounts Jesus returning to his hometown, teaching in the synagogue and amazing many. However, his neighbors who knew him doubted his abilities, took offense, and rejected him. Jesus was amazed at their lack of faith. Nevertheless, he continued his journey and teaching. So, what can we learn from the gospel today? His neighbors assumed his mother and brothers were the biological family they saw. Jesus, of course, is far greater than that. His mother and brothers are not merely those from his hometown. He declared, "Whoever does God's will is my brother and sister and mother." The disbelief and words of his neighbors did not indicate that they were superior or had the right to judge Jesus, his teachings, or his miracles. On the contrary, it signaled their failure to truly know him. So what lessons can we draw from today's gospel? First, knowing Jesus' origins and earthly family is important. For Jesus is God who became man. He was born in a human family and thus had biological relatives. For instance, if Mother Mary has siblings, then Mary have relatives, and her relatives also Jesus' relatives. So Jesus has families, brothers and sisters. However, knowing his biological family alone is not sufficient. Jesus is more than Mary's son. And I think here is something important that we need to learn. He is the Son of God, made flesh. Knowing his true identity requires faith. Intellectual knowledge alone is inadequate. Perhaps we know about Jesus, from where he comes, from what place he comes, where he was born, and so forth. But it's not enough. Second, the wisdom of Jesus' teaching and the miracles he performed were not primarily the deeds of a great human, a Superman, but the works of God signaling the presence of God's kingdom. Therefore, we must view them with faith. His neighbors failed to recognize Jesus because they refused to believe in these divine signs. Third, despite many people's disbelief, Jesus continued his work, traveling and teaching. He came to proclaim the good news so that people might believe. Those who believe will be saved, while those who do not will bear the consequences themselves. In conclusion, my sisters and brothers, it is not enough merely to know about Jesus, his origins, and his earthly family. What is necessary is to know him fully and to believe in him. And you know that we will know Jesus fully only when we believe, because our belief will lead us to complete knowing and knowledge about Jesus. And this is a process that requires continual renewal. For faith is not one-time event. Faith is a process. Faith needs to be renewed every time. And we need to learn again and again and again so that we can know and believe Jesus. Are we willing to keep learning, believing, and growing until we know Jesus? And part of that process is receiving Jesus Christ when He sacrifices Himself and gives His body and blood to all of us, which we are about to receive.